Hello everyone. In this module, you're going to be creating your philosophy of education. What is a philosophy of education? It is essentially the foundation of who you are as a teacher. It's your beliefs about what is the purpose of education. Who are you as a teacher? What is your role going to be? How are you going to assess that your students are learning? And finally, where do you see yourself as a future educator? So let's get into how you're going to develop this statement. So there are a few things you need to do before you draft your philosophy statement. The first thing is I want you to read your e-text for this week. It is what is an educational philosophy. That is not coming from your textbook that's required from the course, but this e-text here, the link is completely free. This e-text is going to go over the different historical theories on the philosophy of education. You're going to want to pick one of those theories that you most agree with, and you're going to want to include that in your philosophy statement. Now, after you read it, if you're kind of confused about which theory you most align with, notice I've given you a link here to a quiz. This isn't like a quiz. This is not a grade for this week. But after you take this quiz, based upon your answers to these questions, it's going to tell you which theory your beliefs most align with. And again, you're going to want to include that in your paper for this week. Now, down here below your e-text, so start with these two first. Now we're going to get into a draft of your statement here. So this is where you're going to upload your philosophy statement, but right below it is a link to the directions. Now, I'm not going to read word for word here, the directions, but I do want to touch on a few key things here. Again, here's a link to that quiz. You want to include your results in your paper again. Right here gives you the directions in terms of length and what style of font to use, all that good stuff. The second page of the directions, again, make sure you read over the first page, but the second page is really the most important part here. Your statement should be at least 5 paragraphs. It's 1 to 2 pages in length, single space, but at least 5 paragraphs, and those 5 paragraphs are listed here for you. Now, I'm giving you some guided questions that can help you in terms of what you can include in those paragraphs. Do not just answer every single bullet point as you go along. These are guided questions. I do want your statement to flow as you are writing a paper. Don't just bullet point the questions and answer the questions. But again, I wanted to give you some guided questions to help you out in terms of what content should you be including in each one of these paragraphs. You do not have to answer every single question that's listed here. The one question that you do have to answer is listed here in bold. So again, based upon your text that you're reading for the week and based upon the quiz that you take, you're going to align yourself with one of those historical theories about the philosophy of education. And I've listed those out here. Now, on the third page, you have the grading rubric for your paper. My suggestion is after you write your paper, first of all, you should read the grading rubric beforehand, but after you write the paper, go through as you would as you were a teacher and you were assigning this assignment. How would you grade your paper based upon this rubric here? So make sure you read the rubric beforehand, and then make sure you take the rubric afterwards and actually grade your assignment before you turn it in. And there is a last page here. That's the quality of writing. So each one of these over here on the left-hand side, you can get up to 20 points, which would give you a total of 100 here. Now, to kind of help you out and give you some ideas of what are some good examples of philosophy statements of education, I've provided some examples here down here at the bottom. I may add some more as we go. Actually, this first document here is my philosophy of education statement. I had to dig back very far in my files. This is from 2007 when I was a student at Carolina here. I will say, when I went back and read this, I was like, wow, a lot of that has not changed, but a lot of it has changed. So I do want you to know that your philosophy of education statement is always going to be in draft form. You're always going to change as an educator. But when I went back and read this, I will say a lot of my core beliefs about what I feel is the purpose of education and core beliefs about who I feel like I am as a teacher, those really haven't changed. My suggestion to you, just like I did back in 2007, you want to save your philosophy statement to your computer somewhere where you're going to be able to find it in the future. Because I can almost guarantee without a shadow of a doubt, you're going to have to write this again. I had to write it as an undergrad, and I had to write it when I got my master's degree. So do not throw away this philosophy of education statement. Make sure you save it somewhere where you can find it in the future. If you have any questions about your assignment directions, if you have any questions about the reading for this week, make sure you reach out to me and ask.